The Chief of Staff of the Army is a statutory office held by a four-star general in the United States Army, as the most senior uniformed officer assigned to serve in the Department of the Army. The CSA is the principal military advisor and a deputy to the Secretary of the Army. In a separate capacity, the CSA is a member of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and, thereby, a military advisor to the National Security Council, the Secretary of Defense, and the President of the United States. The CSA is typically the highest-ranking officer on active duty in the U.S. Army unless the chairman and/or the vice-chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff are Army officers. The Chief of Staff of the Army is an administrative position based in the Pentagon. While the CSA does not have operational command authority over Army forces proper, the CSA does exercise supervision of Army units and organizations as the designee of the Secretary of the Army. The current Chief of Staff of the Army is General Mark A. Milley. Responsibilities. The senior leadership of the Department of the Army consists of two civilians, the Secretary of the Army and the Undersecretary of the Army, and two military officers, the Chief of Staff of the Army and the Vice Chief of Staff of the Army. The Chief of Staff reports directly to the Secretary of the Army for Army matters and assists in the Secretary's external affairs functions, including presenting and enforcing Army policies, plans, and projections. The CSA also directs the Inspector General of the Army to perform inspections and investigations as required. In addition, the CSA presides over the Army staff and represents Army capabilities, requirements, policy, plans, and programs in joint fora, under delegation of authority made by the Secretary of the Army. The CSA designates Army personnel and Army resources to the commanders of the combatant commands. The CSA performs all other functions enumerated in 10 U.S.C. Section 3033 under the authority, direction, and control of the Secretary of the Army, or delegates those duties and responsibilities to other officers in his administration in his name. Like the other service counterparts, the CSA has no operational command authority over Army forces. Dating back to the passage of the Department of Defense Reorganization Act of 1958, the CSA is served by a number of Deputy Chiefs of Staff of the Army, such as G1 personnel. The Chief of Staff of the Army is nominated by the President and must be confirmed by the Senate. By statute, the CSA is appointed as a four-star general. The Chief of Staff of the Army has an official residence, quarters 1 at Joint Base Mayor Henderson Hall, Virginia. The Chief of Staff holds an annual future study program called Unified Quest. History. Prior to 1903, the senior military officer in the Army was the commanding general, who reported to the Secretary of War. From 1864 to 1865, Major General Henry Halleck served as Chief of Staff of the Army, under the commanding general, Lieutenant General Ulysses S. Grant, thus serving in a different office and not as the senior officer in the Army. The first Chief of Staff moved his headquarters to Fort Mayer in 1908. List of Chiefs of Staff of the Army. The rank listed is the rank when serving in the office.